Hello, you're joining me at my day job at Portland Community College, but I wanted to give you some verbal explanation of your final project and what I'm expecting of you. So yeah, I will also be sharing the slide deck as a separate link in case that's helpful for you. I've got some helpful links in here, but I've also included them in the Canvas overview page situation. Basically, and this is in your syllabus, but there's kind of 4 parts, but I'm going to explain them more. It's really 3 things that you turn in or do. So I want you to decide on a topic, which is probably the hardest part. And I've got some more slides on topic selection and all of that later, but you're gonna do something, whether that is interviewing someone in the field, in whatever field, maybe your field, about accessibility and disability, whether that means you're interviewing someone that is disabled on access and inclusion or whatever, you know. So you could interview someone, you could just do more research. So you could pick a topic and go deeper, pretty straightforward. You could do some critical reflection. That's going to be needing to have a lot of backup with sources. So there might be some extra research involved in that, but if it's focused around your own self-exploration, that's cool too. Something like that. We'll expand on that a little bit. You're gonna write what you did, how you did it. So in some of the ways, the writing is the doing, but for some of you, you might choose to do something and then write about it. So that's why there's kind of 2 things here. You're then going to make me something. And maybe this is the most anxiety producing one for a lot of folks because it's really broad, but I want you to make something, whether that is something very like practical or pragmatic, I guess, for your life. Cool, do that, like a brochure or new forms for wherever you work. Or maybe you make some kind of educational content that you might share in a classroom. Maybe you'll make some curriculum. If you're an education major, that might make sense for you, like develop a curriculum of how you would teach some of these topics or a topic to whatever age group. You can make me art, you can make me a mixtape, a playlist, and then like talk about it in your essay of what these songs do for disability justice. You can make me infographics, you can make me digital art, physical collage, sculpture, pottery, textile art, like sewing or knitting or crocheting something. It's really open, but you need to make something that's intended to be shared, appreciated, engaged with, displayed, something. Okay, so maybe that one's the hardest part. Who knows which one's the hardest part? And then you're going to share it. And that's a major portion of your grade, is sharing it, celebrating others, and engaging with this final project with yourself and your peers. Each one of these elements is worth 1,000 points. Is worth 250 points for a total of 1,000 points. Ooh, that was a close one. So it's worth a lot of your grade. It's worth a lot because this has been, I mean, you've been engaging with other people weekly on the discussion board, but other than that, it's been a pretty like internal process for you to work through the content and reflect and then engage with some of the questions that you might have when you're posting and then creating stuff. And so this is kind of the big chance for you to bring some stuff together, make some connections across disciplines, and then display it some way. Okay, So then I'm gonna like break down each one of these little parts for you. Doing something, first part. I gave a little bit of examples here. So I talked a little bit about maybe you want to interview somebody, do some kind of like, what does disability justice work look like in the field, like out in the world, outside of maybe academia or higher education. I put in here that if you want some help getting some connections and like doing a meeting or an email introduction, I can help with that. The Corvallis-based Disability Equity Center has lots of folks that would be open for doing some interviewing if you would like to do that. And I'm happy to help review your interview questions or whatever support you need from me during this whole process with any of it. Fine, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This isn't like a test. This is more of like a celebration of what you've thought about this term. Second bullet here as like kind of some examples or helping to give you some inspiration. Maybe you want to do a media analysis for some of you that are communications majors. You know, this could be your jam, or maybe you could be sick of it. I don't know, but you know, maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to do some media analysis surrounding disability in the news, in pop culture, in music. Maybe you want to do some expanding on that COVID-19 video. Like maybe you want to do your own analysis of how COVID and disability have been talked about, because we didn't have time to go deeper into that, but it is massive. Maybe you want to look at, it's been done a lot out in like the world, but maybe you want to do your own analysis about autism specifically, because there's been a lot of conversation about that, especially with the company Autism Speaks, which we don't like. And like the puzzle piece imagery, maybe you want to do more of like a visual analysis of what are some of the icons and logos, whatever. So take that if that's helpful for you. Maybe you want to do a movie analysis, film analysis as like a media analysis. Disney has also been analyzed a lot and like talked about a lot, but you could make your own connections. Just, you know, be mindful and maybe do a quick little search about what's been done. Because Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, that one is like in your face, like obviously. WALL-E's a little bit less obvious. It's a little bit heavier focus on fat phobia, but there's tons of other types of ableism displayed in WALL-E, which I actually just watched it yesterday. I forgot how sad it is. Luca, there was like a blog article in one of the like, not BuzzFeed, but one of those other like very mainstream type content producers talked about Luca. You could also do a throwback and talk about the 7 dwarves in Snow White. Talk about, you know, just the existence in the story of dwarves and dwarfism and all the mysticism that's been placed upon certain disabilities, but not others. Cool. Maybe you choose a non-Disney. I love me some Studio Ghibli anime, I'm just saying, because I'm that kind of person. Fern Gully could be cool if you were really enjoying the like ecofeminisms justice week. If that was really cool for you, which I loved all of your discussion board stuff on that. You could do Fern Gully. Cool. Okay. I could go on for days. If you need help like brainstorming or just want to like chat through your ideas, here for it. We can do a quick call. We can do a quick video. You can email me it, whatever works. Okay. Here are some things that I wanted to get to or wanted to go deeper into in this term that we just did not have the space for. I had to make some really hard decisions and I hated every minute of it. I hate choosing between things, but So here's just a few of these, a deeper dive into neurodivergence, especially if you are on ADHD TikTok, that side of TikTok. Otherwise, just do the like search for the hashtag ADHD TikTok or something like that. But there's a lot of conversations happening on TikTok about neurodivergence and women specifically. Obviously, there's conversations happening about non-binary folks and trans folks being left out of research on a broad scale. But what's happening is, what's come to light is that neurodivergence, and specifically they're talking about ADHD and autism, but all types of neurodivergence, those diagnostic criteria were based on male bodies and brains. And so, of course, all of these feminized, socialized feminine folks are not getting diagnosed correctly because they don't match the criteria, because it's showing up in different ways. And this idea and the concept of masking our symptoms or expression of neurodivergence has led to a lack of access to support, because we're not getting the diagnoses that we need for the supports, right? So there's like this circle of doom where you need to be diagnosed to get the support, but you can't get diagnosed because of ableism and heteropatriarchy. Dang it, right? So you could do that. That could be cool. And you could like, you could even make a playlist of TikToks. That could be cool. That could be fun, right? The next one that I wanted to go more into, but I decided I wanted to stay pretty current with disability justice, is disability in history. Like literally pick any historical event, and there's probably some ableism in it, ableism and genocide and its connections to colonialism. There's so much there. Like it's almost too big, so you would have to choose something pretty specific to talk about. And maybe you create some educational slides for social media or something on specific event or occurrence or phenomenon in history. Could be cool. Really wanted to go deeper into sexual health, sexuality, and pleasure, and we just didn't have the time for it. There's a little bit in the art week, but not as much as I would have liked to have time for. But there's amazing ways and communities that are a really good example for mainstream culture to get things right? We've talked a lot about who are our models, who are we getting our rules for or from, I mean. And it's a bunch of cis, old, white, rich, able-bodied, able-minded people, white dudes, right? And so what are our new role models that we can find? And something that I offer here is that the BDSM community sets up really great examples for how we relate to another person's body, how we develop language for consent and practices for consent. Just really cool. So I'll throw that out there, take it or leave it. So then you're going to write about it, about whatever you decide to do or think about or research. The only rule with this whole thing is it has to directly relate to disability justice, ableism, something. Just all of those things, which is huge, right? There's a lot of ways to do that. I'm looking for quality over quantity. You should probably need, like at minimum, if you're doing all of the things, it should be fairly straightforward to get to 3 to 5 pages, which is about 1,000 words. It's not that bad. And that's double spaced. I really don't care. Pay attention to word count. Like, don't insult me by being like triple spaced and like 2 pages of triple space. Like, don't insult me by doing that. Like, let's be chill. This is an upper division class. It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. So you're going to discuss in the words part of this, you're going to discuss why you chose the topic, how it relates to you, what all of your thoughts are, your analysis of what connections are you making between your topic and the course concepts and all that kind of stuff. You should be citing stuff that we've read or stuff that you've researched. There should be at some point, you should, reference at least one thing that I assigned. Would be cool, but whatever. I cannot imagine a way for you to pick anything for this project that doesn't require some kind of citation. So you will have to do a citation, but I'm not like requiring a specific number of citations, just do it, don't plagiarize. Okay, great. Connection to the course concepts and the connection to your own story, privileges, and oppression. So make sure that you're locating yourself in systems of oppression. If you're in the privileged position, why did you choose to talk about that from a privileged position? If you are on the other side, so the target of oppression or the oppressed, why is it important for you to discuss this topic? Is that healing or regenerative for you? Is it a point of activism and your commitment to education? Blah, blah, blah. All of those things, but make sure that you're locating yourself in your analysis, because what we've talked about is that science and medicine and all that kind of stuff gets in trouble by trying to take the researcher out of the research, like the researcher doesn't have bias, which is just silly. It's just silly because we've all got bias, right? We all influence everything we create. And so you need to be referring to yourself, what your thoughts are, make it very clear what your thoughts are, make it very clear what you're referencing as somebody else's thoughts, like from a researcher or whatever. Cool. Let's see what else. Use a standard font. No Comic Sans, please. Thank you. Title your paper. It's just good practice because any other time you're going to have to title everything, like in the professional field, or if you continue on in higher education for graduate school, you have to title everything. So it's just good practice. I don't care what citation style you use, just use whatever you normally use. MLA, APA, Chicago, just do it. Do it. Yeah, I think that's it. Quality over quantity. I'm really not like counting how many words you've got. I'm just trying to give you a good like ballpark goal here with like the 3 to 5 pages. But if it's a quality 2.5 pages, sweet, whatever, like I just want it to be good. I don't want you to write something that is painful, like painful to write and just like drudging through it. And because then that means I don't want to read it. I want you to have fun, right? Fun, as much fun as you can have with an assigned writing. Cool. Then you're going to make something. Let's talk about making something. Here's how I kind of think about your topic writing situation versus your creative thing. I think that this really depends on who you are as a person and how your brain processes information and what it gets inspired to do. So some folks will be inspired by a topic and need to like investigate it more, and then might think of some tangible-ish way to display that knowledge or that connection. And then on the other side, some folks be inspired by or to create something first, and then will write and like explain the connection based on what they created. So I can't really just tell you what is the right order to do these things in. I would, maybe do some journaling or mind mapping on whatever topic is kind of sticking with you and you keep thinking about throughout this term. And then go from there. But I think it's kind of the chicken and the egg. One can come first and then the other one, and it doesn't matter which one because they'll both happen by the end of it. I wanted to give you some ideas and just some little pictures here. Could be some traditional type art, and you would just turn in a picture of the art. Like, I want you to keep it. You don't have to send it to me. If it's like a canvas or or this collage in the middle is a physical and it's 3D. You can see that there's like beads in it, and it's in a frame, but pretty cool. And so you would just turn in a picture of it. Totally fine. And then there's like this digital collage situation on the right here, which is also an option. But notice how it's very coalesced, like it actually works. It's not just a bunch of clip art on a page. Like, basically with the creative thing, I need to tell that you put effort and thought into it. And it's pretty clear for the audience on if you put thought and effort into it. Something that I put out there, when in doubt, zine it out. Zines, coming from the word magazine, if you haven't heard about it, I'm including a bunch of resources on zines in the explanation page on Canvas, but zines have been used in justice movements for forever, because they are easy to disperse and get to everybody. And it's a really inclusive and accessible way to get information out there, right? Because the original idea is that it's on one piece of like printer paper, and you could just photocopy it, and originally all in black and white, and then you just fold it up and it turns into this tiny little zine. There's all different kinds of sizes now, and you can choose what size works best for you. But please check out zines. It's very straightforward. If you're having trouble coming up with a creative thing, then zines are a really good way for you to have like a little bit of structure to create something that can be kind of tangible and creative. So check out all these resources. There's a TikTok creator on the slide, but then I've got a bunch of things, including a YouTube of a queer hosted zine making workshop. So you can do it live in real time with the workshop and make a zine. And it's just a YouTube video that you can watch and follow along to make a zine. So I included that. Here's some examples of things that will make me very irritated and sad. And so in my other class, I've assigned this pretty similar. We have live time. And so they're like presenting their stuff instead of putting it on a discussion board like you, but otherwise it's the exact same assignment for the final. And someone was like, well, that top image is just abstract art. Okay, yes, but does that show like time and effort invested in it? Like, where's the critical, like, where is the analysis here that an audience member can look at this and it inspires some thoughts about ableism and disability justice? Maybe not as clear to your audience. And then don't just throw together a little PowerPoint, especially when it's a PowerPoint that's like clearly one of the templates. Please just don't. Please don't. Thanks. And then don't steal things. Straightforward. Don't break the rules. Yay. So here's an example of all of these pieces together, and if this is helpful for you. So for example, I did not create this art. Wish I did. Wish I was this cool, but I did not. But this piece is titled Gender Euphoria. And I put the link to where I found it, which there's other art things. It's like an online gallery image thing. So you can check out that link as well. But their essay from this art, their essay would describe gender euphoria and then talk about how the trans experience and transphobia, specifically transphobia, is heavily connected to ableism and how those things are all interconnected. Maybe they share some personal stories and personal accounts of ableist encounters related to their transness, you know, blah, blah, like all of those things. And then pull in some citations and pull in some resources about why this exists in the medical industrial complex, what is being done currently, any of those things, right? So bringing in all that information. Then they would post on the discussion board, and here's the like next little piece here. When you're posting on the discussion board, you're posting a picture of your art, or maybe if it's your zine, maybe it's the like full page scan of it so that we can see all of the pages. Maybe it's a little video, or I don't know, of you like taking us through the zine, whatever makes sense for you. So you post it on the discussion board, and then you're going to do your artist statement, which will feel very similar to your weekly things that we've been doing. And this is just so that your classmates get the idea of what you're trying to display and what you're trying to connect to without having to read your full essay. But your full essay is just for me. But you need to create something that you would post for your classmates, some words for your classmates with your image. That's also a chance for you to reflect on the term as a whole, if you'd like. So again, here's the three things, and here is the first time we're looking at deadlines. So you're going to turn in on Canvas, just to me, your essay plus an image of the art. Cool. That's due by Wednesday of finals week. Same day, Wednesday of finals week by 11:59 p.m. You will post, hopefully before this, please, so that your classmates have more time. But I'm trying to give you as much time during finals week to like do all of these things. So kind of tough to make these decisions, but whatever. So your original post to the finals week discussion board, which will include an embedded image or link, Google Drive, I don't know, some kind of art, posting your art for your classmates and your blurb of your like artist statement or reflection or whatever. That's also due same day, Wednesday of finals week. And then you have to respond to 3 other. Now, every other week we've had 2, you have to do 2 replies. But for the finals thing, I want you to reply to 3 classmates. And I think it'll be really fun. Think of this as like digital gallery time, where, you know, if we were in person, we would have all of our art displayed in a circle around the outside of the class, and then we would just be doing mingling and like going all around. And what I like to do when we do that is have little sticky notes at each station so that you can write little kudos on the sticky notes and leave it for the artist when they, you know, come back to their seat. But we can't do that because we're digital. So think of it as that we want to leave kudos. We want to support and encourage and compliment all of our peers for the effort that they've put into it, because it's a vulnerable thing to, 1, to create art, and to 2, then display it semi-publicly, like for our class. So think of it like that. And that's due very, very like last deadline that I can give you is Friday at midnight. Hopefully this all happens sooner than that. Because you are able to turn any of this in starting prep week. So I've opened it for all of prep week, and then till Wednesday, you're able to turn in your final stuff and get started on that. So technically you could be done with this class early if your classmates get on it and there's enough posted for you to review. Though I hope you would go back and look at what other people's art is and stuff, and maybe, you know, like it or put a little comment on it to say good job. Most of all, have fun. Have it make sense for you. Like if you know what field you're going to go into and you want to do some thinking about where does disability come in to your field or your next job or whatever, then do something for that. Make something for your life, your work, whatever. Make it make sense for you. Or make it be something that is solely for you, for your enjoyment, just because you want to. I'm fine with any of that. Once more, if you want to, I almost said text me. I don't think you have my number, but if you want to email me with like, here's my ideas, and just like word vomit onto an email, I'm happy to read that and respond with like, yes, love this idea. What did you think about this? Or, ooh, maybe this plus blah, blah, blah. And I'm happy to do that if that's helpful for you to kind of get some feedback in that way on your topic or your art or whatever. If you make something that you're like, I definitely don't want to keep this, I'm happy to keep your art because I am that kind of person and it will live with me forever. If you would like to make me art, I'm here for it. It'll be on my fridge or my walls forever. But yeah, I hope it's something that you would want to keep or post or display or something. And I think that's it. Please ask questions because we're digital and asynchronous. So I don't know when you're confused, you have to tell me. So ask questions. I love you so much. It's going to be great. Yay. And now I have to stop. How do I stop the recording? That's just stopping the sharing. Stop the recording. Oh!